The physical therapy room at St. Mary's Hospital smelled like determination and disinfectant. I gripped the parallel bars, sweat dripping down my face, while Dr. Marcus watched my progress with careful eyes. "One more step, Rachel," he encouraged, his clipboard forgotten at his side. "You're doing great." My arms trembled with the effort of holding my body upright, but I forced my right leg forward. 6 months ago I couldn't even feel my legs. Now each painful step was a victory, even if my family wasn't here to see them. "That's enough for today," Dr. Marcus said, wheeling my chair closer. I sank into it gratefully, muscles burning. He made some notes on his clipboard, then looked at me with that mix of professional distance and genuine care I'd grown familiar with. "Your progress is remarkable. Most patients with your level of spinal injury don't recover this much?" I finished, reaching for my water bottle. "You've said that before." He smiled. "I was going to say, don't work this hard. Your dedication to therapy, the experimental treatments, it's paying off in ways we didn't dare hope for." I nodded, thinking about the countless hours of therapy, the revolutionary stem cell treatment I'd fought insurance to cover, the meditation and alternative therapies I'd researched late into the night. What else did I have to do? It's not like anyone was visiting. "Have you heard from your family?" Dr. Marcus asked, as if reading my thoughts. He knew the story, had watched it unfold from my first day here after the accident. "Mom texted last week," I said, trying to keep my voice neutral. "Said she's still finding it too difficult to visit. Dad hasn't contacted me since he dropped off my laptop 3 months ago. And Megan." I trailed off, thinking of my sister's last visit. "It's just so depressing," she'd said, perched on the edge of my hospital bed like she might catch paralysis by sitting too close. "Can't you try harder to be positive? To get better faster?" That was 5 months ago. She hadn't been back since. The irony was, I had been the family fixer before the accident. The responsible one. The successful one. At 32 I was a senior architect at Jensen & Associates, designing buildings that would shape the city skyline. I'd bought my dream house in the suburbs last year, helped Mom and Dad with their mortgage, paid for Megan's wedding when her fiancé lost his job. Then came the night that changed everything. Rain-slicked roads, a drunk driver running a red light, the sickening crunch of metal. I remember the paramedic's voice. Partial spinal cord injury. Possible paralysis. Then darkness. I woke up to a different life. My legs wouldn't move. The doctors spoke in careful terms about partial recovery and managing expectations. My family hovered anxiously for the first few weeks, then began to drift away as the reality of long-term rehabilitation set in. "It's not forever," Mom would say when I called, her voice too bright. "We just need some time to process. You understand, don't you?" I did understand in a way. I wasn't the daughter they were proud of anymore. I wasn't the successful architect, the family problem solver. I was a problem to be solved, and when they couldn't fix me quickly they retreated. "Rachel." Dr. Marcus's voice pulled me back to the present. "There's something else we need to discuss." I tensed. After months of hospitals I'd learned to read doctors' tones. This one held something important. "The latest scans came back," he continued, pulling up images on his tablet. "The stem cell treatment combined with your dedication to therapy. Well, see for yourself." He handed me the tablet. I'm not a doctor, but even I could see the difference between the before and after images of my spine. Where there had been darkness suggesting nerve damage, now there were connections, light, possibility. "What exactly am I looking at?" I asked, hardly daring to hope. "Evidence of significant neural regeneration," he said, struggling to contain his excitement. "Rachel, this goes beyond our most optimistic projections. The new treatment protocol you helped us pioneer. It's working better than we imagined. We're seeing repair patterns that were previously thought impossible." My hands shook as I handed back the tablet. "What does this mean for my recovery?" "It means," he said carefully, "that with continued therapy, you're likely to regain up to 80% of your previous mobility. Maybe more. We're in uncharted territory here." I sat back in my wheelchair, letting the news wash over me. All those hours of therapy, the experimental treatments I'd researched and fought for, the alternative medicines I'd studied, they were working. Really working. "There's more," Dr. Marcus added, his professional demeanor cracking into a full smile. "The medical board is interested in your case. Very interested. They want to publish the results, develop a formal protocol based on your treatment plan. With your permission, of course. By permission? Yes. Your unique combination of treatments, your documentation of the process, your participation in the experimental programs. It's revolutionary. We're talking about changing the way spinal cord injuries are treated. Helping countless other patients. I thought about all the nights I'd spent reading medical journals, joining online support groups, tracking down experimental treatments. I'd done it to heal myself, but the idea that it could help others. The hospital board is prepared to offer you a significant consultation fee for your participation in developing the protocol, he continued. They're talking 6 figures, possibly more once the treatment is licensed to other facilities. I almost laughed. 6 months of radio silence from my family, and now this. The universe had a twisted sense of humor. When will you announce the results? I asked. The preliminary paper is being prepared now. We'll need a few weeks for peer review, but then... He checked his calendar. The official announcement should be around the 15th next month. We're planning a press conference. I was about to respond when my phone buzzed. For the first time in months, it was a text from Dad. Sweetheart, we need to talk. Your mother and I are having some financial difficulties. Can we come by tomorrow? I stared at the message, remembering all the unanswered texts I'd sent over the past months. The missed birthdays. The holidays spent alone in rehab. Dr. Marcus, I said slowly, could you do me a favor? When my family visits, and I have a feeling they will soon, could we keep the news about my recovery quiet? Just for a little while. He looked at me thoughtfully, understanding dawning in his eyes. Of course. Doctor-patient confidentiality. As far as anyone knows, your condition is unchanged. I nodded, then typed a reply to Dad. Sure. Come by around 2 tomorrow. We have a lot to talk about. As I wheeled myself back to my room, I passed the hospital's garden courtyard. Through the window, I could see new flowers pushing through the soil, reaching for the spring sunshine. How appropriate, I thought. After a long winter, things were finally starting to grow. The next day, I positioned my wheelchair by the window of my private room, watching the hospital parking lot. At 1:58 p.m., I saw Dad's Mercedes pull in, the one I'd helped him buy last year when his old car died. Mom was in the passenger seat, and in the back, surprisingly, was my sister Megan. I took a deep breath, straightening the hospital blanket across my legs. Dr. Marcus had been by earlier, making sure I understood the risks of delaying the announcement about my recovery. Are you sure about this? He'd asked. I was. They entered like a funeral procession. Dad first, then Mom clutching her designer handbag, finally Megan trailing behind them. The smell of Mom's expensive perfume filled the small room, mixing unpleasantly with the hospital's antiseptic scent. Rachel, sweetheart. Mom stepped forward, arms outstretched but not quite touching me. You look the same as I did 6 months ago? I supplied. When you last visited. She flinched, dropping her arms. Dad cleared his throat, loosening his tie. Now, Rachel, you know we've all been under a lot of stress. This situation has been difficult for everyone. Difficult for everyone, I repeated softly. Tell me, Dad, what's been difficult about it for you? The guilt of not visiting? The shame of abandoning your daughter? Or just the inconvenience of having to explain to your golf buddies why I'm not at the country club anymore? That's not fair, Megan cut in. We've all been dealing with this in our own way. You have no idea how hard it's been. Hard. My laugh held no humor. Please tell me how hard it's been. Tell me about all your sleepless nights in the hospital. Oh wait, those were mine. Tell me about the hours of physical therapy, the experimental treatments, the pain. Oh right, that was all me too. Silence fell. Through the window, I could hear birds chirping in the courtyard garden, oblivious to the tension in the room. We're here now, Mom said finally. We want to make things right. Really? I raised an eyebrow. It wouldn't have anything to do with Dad's text about financial difficulties? They exchanged glances. Dad stepped forward, his sales pitch smile in place. Well, since you mention it, we've had some setbacks. The market's been tough and some investments didn't pan out. We were hoping, given how much we've always supported you. Always supported me? I interrupted. Like when you stopped visiting because it was too depressing? Or when you missed my birthday because you had a spa weekend planned? I looked at Megan. Or when my own sister couldn't handle seeing me in a wheelchair? That's not what happened, Megan protested weakly. Really? Let me read you your last text. I picked up my phone, scrolling through messages. Sorry sis, can't make it today. Jason and I are looking at boats and you know how depressing that hospital is. Maybe next week. That was 4 months ago. We made mistakes, Dad admitted, his voice taking on the smooth tone he used for business negotiations. But we're family. Family helps each other. And right now we need help. The bank is threatening foreclosure on the house. Your mother's medical bills from her elective surgery. You mean her facelift? Mom's hand flew to her suspiciously wrinkle-free face. It was a necessary procedure. We're looking at bankruptcy, Dad continued. We thought, given your insurance settlement. There was the real reason for their sudden reappearance in my life. My insurance settlement, I said slowly. The one that's paying for my treatment. The experimental procedures you never bothered to ask about. The therapy you couldn't be bothered to witness. Well, yes, Dad shifted uncomfortably. We thought perhaps you could spare some. Hold that thought, I interrupted, pressing the call button. A moment later, Dr. Marcus appeared, right on cue. Perfect timing, I smiled. Dr. Marcus, would you mind showing my family those scan results we discussed yesterday? He pulled out his tablet, displaying the before and after images of my spine. As you can see, he explained professionally, Rachel's participation in our experimental treatment program has yielded extraordinary results. The neural regeneration is unprecedented. What does that mean? Megan asked, peering at the images. It means, I said, placing my hands on my wheelchair's armrests, this. Slowly, deliberately I stood up. Mom's handbag hit the floor with a thud. Dad's mouth fell open. Megan stumbled back, hitting the wall. But, Mom stammered. You're paralyzed. You can't. Actually, Dr. Marcus interjected, Rachel has been making remarkable progress for months. Her dedication to therapy, combined with the experimental treatments she researched and fought to receive, has resulted in what we believe will be an 80% or better recovery. The press conference is next month, I added, sitting back down. Standing still took a lot of energy. The medical board is developing a new treatment protocol based on my case. They're calling it revolutionary. That's wonderful. Mom exclaimed, stepping forward with arms outstretched again. Why didn't you tell us? We would have been here supporting you. Would you? I asked quietly. Like you supported me through all the other months? Through the pain, the setbacks, the small victories you couldn't be bothered to witness. But things are different now, Dad began. Tell that you're getting better. Yes, things are different, I agreed. I'm different. The daughter you knew, the one who always put family first, who solved everyone's problems, who never said no. She changed during all those months you couldn't bear to visit. I wheeled myself to the window, looking out at the garden. New roses were blooming where last week there had been only buds. The medical board is offering me a substantial consultation fee for helping develop the new treatment protocol, I continued. Plus ongoing royalties once it's licensed to other hospitals. Dr. Marcus, what were those projected figures? He consulted his tablet. Initial estimates suggest compensation in the 7-figure range, with significant ongoing revenue from licensing and consultation fees. I heard Dad's sharp intake of breath. Could practically feel their minds spinning, recalculating their approach. Sweetheart, Mom started, her voice honey-sweet. We always knew you were special. Stop, I held up my hand. Just stop. I don't want your belated pride or your sudden interest in my recovery. What I wanted, what I needed, was my family. But you couldn't handle seeing me broken, couldn't bear the reminder that bad things happen even to good people. So you left me to heal alone. We can make it up to you, Megan pleaded. We're still family. No, I said softly. We're not. Not anymore. Family shows up. Family stays. Family holds your hand through the hard parts, celebrates the small victories, believes in you when you can't believe in yourself. You. I shook my head. You're just people I used to know. But, the house. Dad sputtered. The bankruptcy. I'll have my lawyer contact you, I said, turning back to face them. He'll arrange to pay off the mortgage. Not for you, but because I promised Grandma before she died that I'd make sure her house stayed in the family. But that's it. No more solving your problems. No more putting everyone else first. You can't just cut us off, Mom protested. After everything we've done for you, Everything you've done for me? I laughed. Let me show you exactly what you've done. I pulled out my phone, opening a folder of videos I'd been keeping. This is me taking my first step after the accident. This is my first time moving my toes. This is me learning to stand again. All these moments, these victories, these milestones, you could have been here for them. You chose not to be. Rachel, please, Dad tried one last time. We can start over. Yes, I can, I agreed. But not with you. Dr. Marcus? I think I'm ready for that press conference now. No need to wait until next month. He nodded, understanding. I'll make the arrangements. And your discharge papers should be ready next week. Discharge. Megan's voice rose. You're leaving. I bought a condo near the hospital, I explained. I'll be continuing outpatient therapy and consulting with the medical board on the new treatment protocol. Plus, I smiled at Dr. Marcus. I've been invited to join a support group for other spinal injury patients. Turns out I have something to offer besides money, hope, understanding, actual support. But what about us? Mom's voice was small. That's not my problem anymore, I said firmly. I spent 6 months learning to stand on my own, physically and emotionally. I'm not going back to being your safety net. They left eventually, Mom crying, Dad still trying to negotiate, Megan looking lost. I watched through the window as they got into the Mercedes, the last gift they'd ever receive from me. Are you okay? Dr. Marcus asked after they'd gone. I looked at him, then at the parallel bars where I'd taken my first steps, at the window where I'd watched seasons change while my family stayed away, at the chair that had supported me when no one else would. You know what? I smiled. I really am. That evening I wheeled myself down to the garden. The roses were in full bloom now, their scent filling the air with promise. I thought about all the changes ahead. The press conference, the medical board meetings, the new condo, the support group. A year ago I had been an architect designing buildings. Now I was helping design something far more important. Hope for people like me. My phone buzzed with another text from Dad, but I didn't open it. Instead, I pulled up the contact information for the lawyer Dr. Marcus had recommended. Tomorrow I'd start arranging everything. The mortgage payoff for Grandma's house, the setup of the consultation contracts, the new boundaries that would define my life going forward. But tonight, in this garden where I'd spent so many hours dreaming of walking again, I just sat quietly, watching the sunset paint the sky in colors of healing and change. Sometimes I realized the greatest strength isn't in standing up again. It's in knowing when to walk away.